Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Our friends in the UK have asked me to look at Brexit, the vote in 2 days for the United Kingdom to either remain in the European Union or leave. And in this video, I'll show you why I think they're going to remain. It has to do with the death of Jo Cox a week earlier, the politician who was supposedly shot dead. We're also going to talk about the coming king, King Charles. I'm fairly certain the Queen's death is not too far off. I noticed a major riddle with the NBA Finals and how it also connects to the Queen and King Charles to come. Also in this video, we're going to talk about the recent assassination attempt on Donald Trump in Las Vegas and how Hillary is about to name her VP. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Tim Kaine. I'll show you why. So let's look right here. I want to show you something. The last time the UK had a vote like this to leave the greater body of government for Europe was 1975. And in that vote, 67% of the UK voted to remain in the larger government body. And just last week, we saw a politician die at age 41. Her name was Jo Cox, which in gematria sums to 67. And she was going to vote to remain in this Brexit vote 2 days from now. The vote got pushed back because of her death. She died age 41. This vote was 41 years ago. Her name equaled 67. Last time it was a 67% vote, which is a very special number to Freemasonry. Freemasonry itself has gematria of 67. So I'll show you what else is interesting about this vote. I think it's a big tribute to the royal family. I think it has to do with the Queen's coming death. We'll start right here. The date of the vote is June 23rd, 2016, a date with 65 numerology. And United Kingdom has gematria of 65. The vote supposedly got pushed back to this date because of the death of Jo Cox. But what I would bet is that it was always planned for this date, and the death of Jo Cox was planned. What I'm trying to educate people about is worldwide, the news is created by the numbers, manufactured as part of an ongoing scripted narrative. This is a Masonic agenda. It goes on worldwide. It's been going on since the time the United States and the UK, Britain were participating in the Revolutionary War. And really, it's been going on before that. This history by the numbers, it's an old thing. So United Kingdom has gematria of 65, just like the date of the Brexit vote. So does the word prince. And right now it's Prince Charles. I'm pretty sure it's soon to be King Charles. I want to remind you that the day that the Queen turned 90, that was the date that Prince, the musician, dropped dead in an elevator at age 57. Prince, dead at 57 the day the Queen turned 90. They lit up Niagara Falls all in purple the day Prince died, the day the Queen turned 90. They said it was a tribute to Prince, but what's interesting is Vanity, the musician, is from Niagara Falls. Vanity had died 67 days before Prince. They both passed at age 57. The day after Vanity died, I predicted that Prince would die soon. And I talked about the number 67 in that video. Lo and behold, he dies 67 days later. Prince's birthday was to be June 7th. Again, 67, very important to the Freemasons. From the date of this Brexit vote, June 23rd, to the date of Prince Charles' birthday, November 14th, is 144 days, a very special number in this study of language into numbers. 144 is represented in the word time. We find this number in monumental events in history. The deaths of presidents, the establishment of nations, so much more. 144, a very special number. Prince Charles' birthday, 144 days after Brexit. It was Prince Nelson, that's the musician, who died on the Queen's birthday, 144. From the date Prince died, from the date the Queen turned 90 until the Brexit vote is 63 days. 63 stands out in 2016 because if you add every number up to 63, it sums to 2016. And all of these events are scripted in accordance with events planned to come in the future, you know? All of this stuff is synced up. It's amazing how well planned it all is. There's obviously a network of people that work very hard at this and have scripted our history this way. So anyhow, the Queen being 90, it ties into this whole Brexit thing. Brexit has gematria of 33. Cameron, as in David Cameron, the leader of the nation, 33. He's also born in October, the only month with 33 gematria. We'll get to what's so funny about his birthday in regards to this vote. The word remain equals 33. I'm pretty sure they are going to remain. The dead politician again was for remain. And so does the number 90. 90 and 16 are the only numbers when written out that sum to 33. The Queen turned 90 in 2016. And with regards to the royal family, in gematria that sums to 137, just like the word authority. Special number, 137, the 33rd prime, 33, you know? They have been attached to the European greater community since 1973. 2 years after that's when they had the vote. Now another vote. It's 43 years later. 43 has been a special number all throughout the news cycles this year. A lot of it is attached in history to civil wars, from the American Civil War to Vietnam to more. I find it interesting that this vote's coming 43 years after joining this larger body. You know, it's not exactly a civil war, but most civil wars start when somebody tries to break away from the larger body. So I see a little parallel there. Anybody who's ever heard about that letter written by Albert Pike, the Confederate war general, the American Civil War? That letter was supposedly written 43 years before the First World War. And the letter he wrote was about the 3 future world wars to come. Civil War general wrote that letter 43 years before the First World War. Civil War general. The Civil War in America began in Charleston, having gematria of 43. Charleston, Charles, royal family, you know. With regards to 41, I also just want to point out that the day that the Queen turned 90 was a date with 41 numerology. Same day Prince died. This is the first vote on exiting in 41 years. Today also happens to be Prince William's birthday. Prince William, his birthday coming 2 days before the vote. Prince William in gematria equals 144. There was a conversation a year ago. If the Queen died, would it be King Charles or King William? But Prince William said it would definitely be King Charles. So anyway, his birthday coming just before. Prince Harry's birthday is September 15th, 2016. That's 84 days after Brexit, or 2 months and 23 days. Remember, they just had those Invictus games in Orlando, Florida, before the shooting, before all the tragedies there. I did the video on Invictus, Invicta, the White Horse of Kent, what it had to do with the Super Bowl, why the Cavs would win the NBA Finals, and more. All of this stuff factors in. 84 connects to United States of America, the UK and the United States very much united. United Kingdom, United States. The word united equals 73, just like Pulse, that Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando just after the Invictus games. Notice from the date of Brexit to his birthday is also 2 months and 23 days. 223 for Masonic. We saw this number all over the Invictus games. I am the master of my fate, 223. Just remember these dates. The powers that be, when they script their news, they're often in tributes to people in high places, history. The royal family's been front and center for a while now. I did some videos last year on how it was a big year for them. All the family members at significant ages. I showed how the World Series was connected to Charles, Prince Charles. Been talking about this for a while. Prince Charles becoming the king. And I think we're getting all these clues in recent days. Cameron's birthday, the leader of the country, his birthday is October 9th, right? And from Brexit to October 9th is a span of 109 days. 10-9 his birthday. Leader of Parliament, right? Parliament 109. You see how all this stuff's lined up, how well it's synced up? It's all a gang of Freemasons, All of these people are essentially puppets just playing their part in the ongoing show that's meant to dupe the people of this world, that keeps the agenda, the Masonic one world order agenda, in place, moving like a machine. So anyway, pretty sure the UK will remain. I'm pretty sure this is all symbolic, and I think a big part of it is just to get the attention of the world on the UK, possibly before some even bigger news there, such as the death of the Queen. You know, that will be a major news story when it happens. Just to go over the Jo Cox thing again, her birthday would be tomorrow. She died just short of her 42nd birthday at age 42. She went by the name Jo Cox, which has gematria of 67. Again, 41 years ago, a 67% vote to remain. She was for remaining. The date she died, a date with numerology corresponding with death. Covered that in an earlier video. That's just the point I wanted to make. Pretty sure Jo Cox was an actor agent like most politicians are, and that's what her role was, you know, in office a year just to do this little ritual to push the Brexit to the date it's supposed to be on. Last year they were writing articles about the, Queen getting older. There were multiple articles written. This was one I caught early in the year last year, March 6th, 2015. What I notice now about that date, March 6th, is it's written 6-3 over in the UK. A lot like 63. If you add every number up to 63, it sums to 2016. Prepping the minds of the world by the numbers for the coming death of the Queen. This was also put out on a date with 44 numerology, the kill number. So anyway, last year when the World Series was won by the Royals, Charles was still age 66. And I said, remember this, that Charles is 66. The word Charles is 66. King equals 66. I bring up that LeBron equals 66 because he just won the NBA Finals on King James's birthday, the real King James, and they call LeBron James King James. He won the NBA Finals on a date with 41 numerology. The word king in simple English gematria sums to 41. Should have made that point on the last slide where we were talking about the significance of 41. King equals 41 in simple English gematria, 66 in Jewish gematria. All of these forms of coding are interrelated. If you're someone who thinks this is silly because I'm using multiple forms, you're not taking the time to appreciate the coding and how it's used. All of these forms are relevant. Charles, the World Series was won November 1st, 13 days before his 67th birthday. He's 67 right now. The last time there was a Brexit vote, 67%. Anyhow, World Series has gematria of 57, 66, and 75. Again, the Royals won while Charles was still 66, 13 days before his 67th birthday. The World Series before that was won by the Giants. They won it 66 days after the worst earthquake in San Francisco since the '89 World Series earthquake. USGS, which measures the earthquake, equals 66. I'll let you use your imagination to piece the rest of the puzzle pieces together with what's going on there. So anyway, the Queen has been the Queen since 1952. She became the Queen on February 6th, a date that can be written 2/6 or 6/2 in 52. Look at the word Queen in gematria, 2662, just like the way the date February 6th is written. Prophecy in gematria sums to 52. King James just won the NBA Finals in California, breaking a streak of 52 years for no sports championships for the city of Cleveland. And again, when Prince died, I explained how his death was on a date significant to the NBA Finals. He died on the 111th day of the year. The NBA Finals equals 111. They ended up announcing his cause of death on Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Prince B, the musician from PM Dawn, died 57 days after Prince, just before the last game of the NBA Finals. Prince dead at 57, Prince B dead 57 days later. All of these are rituals and tributes to something greater to come. And the Cavs winning the NBA Finals, that's not it. That's just part of the symbolism for the greater event to come, which I'm pretty sure will be the crowning of Charles. All according to prophecy, the way this gang works, by the numbers of prophecy. Here I just did a little example for maybe what we can expect later this year with the death of the Queen. I'm not saying she's going to die for certain on these dates, but the way this gang works is something like this. The Queen turned 90 on April 21st, the day Prince died. It was Prince Nelson. Perhaps within the gematria of Prince is the fate of the Queen. And keep in mind, the day that it's announced that the Queen has died, she might not even really have died. It might just be all part of the ritual by the numbers. You know, these people operate according to numbers of significance. So anyway, from the date the Queen turned 90 to the date of September 12th is 144 days, which would be fitting with the Prince Nelson dying on her birthday. That will also be a date with 57 numerology, Prince dead at 57, Vanity dead at 57, you know, several tributes to 57 ever since. This is a number connected to championship. LeBron won the championship on King James's birthday. Royalty of past. What also would make sense, check this out. From June 19th, the date that LeBron, King James, won on King James's birthday, to September 12th, is also 85 days, and basketball equals 85. You know? So two things line up with September 12th based on these other tributes that seem to be pointing to the King Charles to come. Another date that would make sense in the month of September, they like to do things in September, the 9th month, would be September 21st. 9 days later, that's 153 days after she turned 90. 153 is a number often paired with 42, a number connected to women. 153 is also a number connected to 17. Queen begins with a Q, the 17th letter. That date, September 21st, is a date with 66 numerology, like King, like Charles. Remember, she became the Queen on a date corresponding with Queen gematria. Wouldn't it make sense for the King to become on a date with, King numerology? So just things to think about. September 21st will also be 94 days, 9 more days after the end of NBA Finals. The Finals, as they were writing it, sums to 94 in gematria. Prince B, who died before Game 7, had 94 birth numerology. So September 12th, September 21st, those dates would make a lot of sense if it happened. Then again, there's other dates I could map out and I could make an argument for them. I'm just sharing this with you so you can understand the way they script history by the numbers. They always measure from the birthdays and will hit a date of significance. That's why those dates would make sense. There's more dates though. This article was written when the Queen was 88. The words poison and program equal 88. Trump equals 88. Think about Donald Trump poisoning and programming people by being put on TV constantly. In the Invictus Games, for the advertisement, they had the Queen looking at her phone, and it was 18:15 for the time on her phone. I think it's interesting that at this time they wrote the article, they documented that in the time she's been Queen, there's been 18 different prime ministers and 15 U.S. presidents. 1815. Said that on her phone. That's a sum of 33. We talked about how that connects to the royal family. They talk about the day the Queen dies, there'll be a big tribute to the Church of England, Freemasonry, Church of England, same gematria. Remember, it's the Freemasons running the shows by the numbers. And speaking of which, running the show by the numbers, YouTube might be giving us a big clue about Prince William. YouTube has this tribute up on their website today. If you're watching my video, you're going to see this. The heart, if you hold your cursor over it, it will say proud to be, just like this. Proud to be has the gematria 44. This is a tribute to the Orlando shooting. Shooting equals 44. Proud to be equals 44. What do they say about pride? Pride is a killer. Have you guys really thought about this? Why is pride associated with homosexuality? You shouldn't really be proud of your sexuality. At the same time as I say this, I know what happens in this world. When you demonize a group of people, they have to build themselves back up by, having pride in themselves, essentially. And that's what's happened to so many groups in this world. It's more than just homosexuals. Every group that gets discriminated against, they band together, and then they build up all this pride in their own group while kind of shunning themselves from everyone else. This is why it's important to be accepting to all. Otherwise, this is what you create in the world. This is what division does. Nobody should be proud of their sexuality, What's to be proud of? You know what I mean? But as I just said, we explained what it's about. Pride's a killer. The word kill equals 44, just like proud to be, and just like shooting, which this is a tribute to. Remember, the shooting just happened in Orlando, Florida. When you write out 44, it sums to 144. When you write out Orlando, Florida, it sums to 144. When you write out Prince William, it sums to 144. And just days after the shooting, Prince William was on the cover of this gay magazine, Attitude. Very interesting, right? Prince Nelson equals 144. He died on the 44th parallel north where his home was. He died on the 93rd meridian. Saturn equals 93, the keeper of time. Time equals 144. All of these numbers interrelated. All right, so next topic, Donald Trump. So, over the weekend, supposedly, Donald Trump, somebody tried to kill him in Las Vegas, where the Democrats had their first presidential debate. This headline, U.S. election, arrested Briton wanted to shoot Donald Trump. And notice how they emphasize wanted to shoot Donald Trump. As I always say, when you see an emphasized phrase, it's coded with gematria. The coding is relevant. Wanted to shoot Donald Trump sums to 101, just like assassin. Very clear connection. JFK was shot from 411 Elm Street. In Jewish gematria, 411 equals assassin. Important numbers in assassinations all throughout history. As I've been explaining since February, they've been dropping clues in the media repeatedly about a fateful end for Donald Trump to come. 44 years ago, oh my goodness, I can't think of the politician's name. 44 years ago in 1972, what's-his-face was shot on the campaign trail. George Wallace. They're saying that Donald Trump is the biggest bigot to run for president since him. It's 44 years later. Shooting equals 44. They keep dropping all these clues for a Donald Trump assassination. So what else is coded here that stands out? Britain has gematria of 33. You could take that back to your Brexit we were just talking about. Police equals 33. Supposedly a Briton grabbed a police officer's gun and was going to try to kill Trump, but was stopped. That's the story out of the mainstream. The word Briton in simple English gematria also sums to 78. The Republican convention upcoming is in Cleveland. Cleveland has the exact same gematria as Britain. And all of these stories are coded narratives for something to come later. That's the way our news is pieced together worldwide. Riddles, made-up information, stringing together a narrative. They said the shooter was Michael Stephen Sanford, 20 years old. Check this out. Michael Stephen Sanford sums to 217. And right away what I see in that is the date July 21st, 21/7. That's the final date of the Republican convention in Cleveland. That will be a date with 44 numerology, the kill number. Shooting equals 44. From the date of this assassination attempt, June 18th, until July 21st, is 33 days. 33 days until Cleveland, the Briton. You see what's going on here? They always love to code 33 in their shootings. JFK was assassinated in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, on 11/22. There's a lot more 33 in it than that. The name Kennedy alone equals 33, so does the name Connolly, the man sitting in the car with him. Just wait until my book's out. I should just put it out the way it is. It's not even finished. It's rough draft. It's already got enough information to be maybe the most helpful book ever written. But once it's done, it's going to be glorious, This gang will be done for. Done for. So July 21st, date with 44 numerology. We've been talking about July 11th. Remember, Donald Trump mistakenly said July 11th instead of September 11th, 7/11 instead of 9/11 when he was congratulating the heroes. I'm not sure that that was accidental because they made that a massive news story. The Orlando shooting is pointing to the date July 11th. We might get a news story July 11th and perhaps another one July 21st. Those days are 10 days apart. Remember the significance of 10 days later. 10 days later equals 144, 44 equals 144, kill equals 44. If you write out April 4th, 4 the date, it sums to 144. The reason that's significant is Abraham Lincoln on April 4th wrote in his journal that he dreamt of being assassinated. He would be shot 10 days later, April 14th, a date that can be written 14/4. April 4th equals 144, 10 days later equals 144, 14/4. JFK was shot on the first day of Sagittarius. Sagittarius equals 144. His brother Bobby Kennedy died at 1:44 in the morning. All throughout history this way. First president to die in office died on April 4th. With regards to them saying this guy was 20 years old, the would-be shooter, 20 has the same gematria as shooting as well. They said he was from Dorking in Surrey. Dorking has gematria of 78 like Cleveland as well, like Briton, and 42 like Freemason. Surrey, gematria of 34 like murder, 106 like prophecy. And all of this stuff is coded according to the man-made ongoing prophecy that these Masons are having us live out. With regards to Las Vegas, Nevada, where this happened, this story connects to the race for the White House. Las Vegas, Nevada, 133, White House, 133, government, 133. And Donald Trump's first debate on Fox News, they had up this stat that Forbes says he's the 133rd richest man in the world. Remember, the first Democratic debate was in Las Vegas, Nevada. The first Republican debate was in Cleveland, Ohio. Ohio and Nevada, the only two states that equal 47 in simple English, just like the word president. Las Vegas, also very symbolic. Another symbolic story foreshadowing, the death of Donald Trump. Should we get that story that Donald Trump has been shot and killed, just know it will be the end of his actor, agent, celebrity. These people are all part of the gang, deceiving us, creating an agenda, creating a narrative. This would all be part of the narrative of Hillary becoming the president. I don't think that needs to happen for Hillary to be the president, but, they need to create stories for us. And can you just imagine Hillary as the president talking about with gun control, how we might have prevented the assassination of Donald Trump? I can see it all. That's exactly how it would be. So, people tune into the TV. They think it's all fun and games. They tune into America's Got Talent. They think this girl up here is just some girl that got picked, telling her funny jokes. What I'm telling you, almost everything on TV is controlled by the gang. This story right here about this girl going up and slaying Donald Trump with her joke, look at this stuff. She was a 13-year-old Lori Mae Hernandez. Her initials, 12, 13, H, L the 12th, M the 13th, H the 8th, 33. Hillary Rodham Diane Clinton also has those 33 initials. The name Clinton equals 33. But check this out. Her name in gematria, Lori Mae Hernandez, sums to 87, just like Clinton. Remember, Clinton's campaign sums to 87. Inauguration day is 87 days after her birthday this year. Also, her name sums to 168, like New York City. The Clinton dynasty, a political dynasty going back to the beginning of the country from New York. Hillary senator in New York. Think about when her husband became president. Right away, there was a tragedy in New York at the World Trade Centers. Then when the next president would take over, there'd be another tragedy at the World Trade Centers. By the numbers. If you just look at what's being put before our eyes, numbers aside, just the images they keep putting out, when the media shows Hillary, they mostly cast her in a favorable light, oftentimes a mocking light. When they put out pictures of Donald Trump, they just make him look like the doofus that he is. And Donald Trump really is a doofus. Anyone who's caught up in the Donald Trump campaign really needs to examine their head. We're talking about a game show contestant who has nothing to say, who has no plan for anything, who's made so many embarrassing remarks. Only in a nation like the United States could this even be possible. We have been so chemically dumbed down that it makes all of this possible. But anyway, these pictures like this have just been going on for months. Hillary laughing her way to the throne, Donald looking like he's taking a dump. Look at these numbers. 42 million in the bank, Trump just 1.3 million. I thought this guy was the 133rd richest person in the world. He has infinite dollars in the bank. But anyway, 42, a number connected to women, connected to Freemason. Her husband was the 42nd president. If Hillary becomes the 45th president, if that's what it's to be, Hillary 45, 42 plus 45, that equals 87 like Clinton. Something I've been talking about for a year. But all this stuff connects. I talked about how when the NBA Finals was won by the East, historically that means the West, or not the West, that means a Democrat is elected president when the Eastern Conference Finals won. LeBron James just won, LeBron James 42. All this stuff just syncs up too much. They also bring up this figure of 117 million. You know, that reminds me of July 11th, Donald Trump mistakenly saying 7-Eleven. We're going to see some headlines here in the near future again. We're living at a very interesting moment in time. So the other headline, Hillary looking at her VP. They got these people up here, Elizabeth Warren. I don't know who this guy is in the middle. Tim Kaine is who I can definitely see being her vice president. Let me show you why I think it's going to be Tim Kaine. For those of you who follow, you're going to hear what I'm saying. The headline has gematria of 132. That reminds me of the number of rooms in the White House. 132 rooms in the White House. Grand in Jewish gematria equals 132. The White House, a grand structure. So what I need to remind you about Hillary Clinton is that before she was a politician, when she was the first lady in the 90s, she made all these statements about gun control in the future, taxing gun owners. She wants a national 25% sales tax on guns. She wants mandatory gun owner insurance. So the more guns you own, the more insurance you have to pay. She was saying back in the 90s that she was going to, change gun laws in this nation. She was talking about that as the first lady. And think about what's been going on in the time of the Obama administration. All of these shooting hoaxes, all this fear-mongering with guns. That kind of started actually with Bush. 2007, the Virginia Tech shooting. And really, let me just stop what I just said. In my book, I show how these shooting hoaxes by the numbers have always been going on since the 70s forward. And I just lay it out so clearly, it's undeniable. You see that all of these stories are synced up with the exact same numbers. There's about 100 examples between 1970 and the present. Undeniable pattern. Virginia Tech is one of these that fits perfectly into the pattern. Recall in 2007, near the end of Bush's presidency, there was this mass shooting at Virginia Tech, not far from the nation's capital, Blacksburg, Virginia. 33 people killed. Those were the headlines. As I show in my book, all of these shooting hoaxes in the states are synced up with the governors. Tim Kaine was the governor of Virginia at the time. He's now the senator from the state. Look at this. Tim Kaine turned 49 years old 49 days before the Virginia Tech shooting. 49 years old, 49 days before. The shooting was on April 16th, the 106th day of the year. Just so you know, in my book, I go into way greater detail, but I'm just going to give you enough information right here. So 49 days after turning 49 years old on the 106th day of the year. Remember, Revelation is the book of prophecy. It was also a span of 1 month and 21 days. Revelation equals 49 and 121. And it happened on the 106th day of the year, April 16th, 2007. Prophecy equals 106. Revelation, the book of prophecy. In the chapter, I show so many things. How many of the shootings are synced up with the prophecy code? How many of them coded 33 in? How they sync up with the governors and more. It's very thorough what I've done in the book. I'm creating an argument that is just completely undeniable. That's my goal. I want everyone to pick up the book and be like, okay, I thought this was crazy, but now I see it's the truth. So anyway, Tim Kaine, one of these people participating in this stuff, 33 dead in Blacksburg, Virginia. Blacksburg equals 33. The day Tim Kaine's born, February 26, 1958, a date with 33 numerology. February 26th is also the date of the 93 World Trade Center bombing. In New York, this number is coded into tragedy, where the Clinton family connects to. In the movie Taxi Driver, which is synced up with the coding of Donald Trump's death to come, the man who shot George Wallace 44 years ago, the movie Taxi Driver is based on him, Arthur Bremer, the man who shot George Wallace. All of these riddles are coming together. In Taxi Driver, it's apartment building 226 in New York where the big massacre happens in that movie. 226. Been talking about Hillary headlines for months and how they keep coding 226 with it. Seeing Tim Kaine's birthday, seeing what he's had to do with these past shooting hoaxes, thinking about how close he is to the nation's capital, it makes a lot of sense that he'll be Hillary's VP. There might be numbers for other people too, but I doubt Hillary will have a woman vice president. Tim Kaine, a guy who makes a lot of sense. Governor and senator, been around. He's down for the cause. He's one of the hoaxsters. They all are. His birthday, though, that's what wraps it up for me. And again, it always comes back to prophecy. White House equals 52 like prophecy. These people always syncing everything up by their prophecy numbers. So I'm pretty sure we'll see Hillary announce Tim Kaine as the VP. This story comes the day after yesterday. Yesterday, the Republicans in the Senate rejected gun control proposals. People in this country can't see what a big show it is, and I don't know why. I've seen it since I was a kid. Politics is just bogus bullshit, always recycling the same narratives. Something I learned when I was younger is it always comes down to the 3 G's in America. Gays, guns, and God. The majority of people are wrapped up in those issues. The other one would be abortion. There's so many people that vote just based on that. I'm voting for the person that thinks this way about homosexuality. I'm voting this way, based on how they think about guns. People just trap themselves in these issues that are just traps. They hang these same issues like carrots in front of us so that we go along with their bullshit narrative. Notice how nothing ever changes. They'll make it seem like it's so close, it's so dramatic. This is about to happen, or you better vote for this. Always the same. This country's an ongoing machine that has a few tricks in its bag, and it's all it needs to dupe the masses, apparently. I noticed the date of this story was a date with 42 numerology. The word gun equals 42. There's no way they're going against the guns on 42 day. Senate rejects gun control proposals, had gematria of 135 connected to the key of David, this important thing about prophecy in Revelation. Elizabeth Warren getting in on the tweets. The vote was supposedly 53 to 47. Shooting equals 53. 47, their Masonic number. You look at what these votes are in the Congress, you can see how they're by the numbers too. Nothing but a bunch of actor agents just playing their part. I don't know if there's a single real person in the Congress, If they are, they're rare. So that pretty much wraps it up. Covered the current events. Keep your eyes peeled for July 11th, July 21st. Pretty sure the UK is going to remain right where it is 2 days from now. King Charles. We'll be saying it pretty soon. Until next time, True Seekers.